and welcome to another episode here at Rockstar UK. Today we're going to start reassembling the Escort. So we're going to do the World Cup crossmember, lifting that up, putting it back on the engine, and let's just get the engine supported. Then it's a case of putting all the sort of like the tie rod ends and all of that stuff back up together. We haven't moved it as such, but we will get an alignment check done. The main thing really is I want to get it rolling, get it so I can move it around and bring the ruckus in to do a little bit of work on that. Yeah, so let's crack on. Right, so the next thing is to put our starter motor back on. I'm going to do these connections, do the reverse of what we did in the previous episode, and then I'm going to position this basically in, like you see there, in that orientation, into where the sump is, because the sump's got like a couple of holders which you can see up there. So position it up where the sump is, into the bell housing, and that'll be that done. So good progress this morning. Just got the starter motor back up, so I'll just show you. Starter motor's back in, all bolted in place, and also on this side I'll put the clutch cable back in. Now the clutch cable is quite a tricky job, because you've got to get this sort of like nipple in through a pear-shaped hole on the clutch fork, slide it over, and you're supposed to put like a retainer in there. I made something, well actually, my dad made something to make that job a little bit easier. We made a little nylon bush with a long screw in the back, so you can use your hand, with a flat spot on it, and it clicks into place, and it goes into that pear-shaped bit, which then holds the little nipple onto the clutch fork. It makes it so much easier. It's never fallen out. So just done that job as well whilst I was under the car. Next thing really is the World Cup crossmember. Right, so I was just cleaning this off. I'm not too worried about the paint underneath because that comes off anyway, but look, all the black paint has literally just come off. So what I'm going to have to do is just paint up with some spray paint. I'm not doing anything elaborate, and just reprotect those areas. It's just atrocious, but oh well, I never knew it was red underneath after the like 10 years of owning it. So I'll get that little bit of just roughly paint over the top, and then get it back up in. There we go. It's now all black. That'll do. Nothing special. Right, so we're making some progress. We've got the traction control on, whatever you want to call it. That's in place. I think I'm gonna have to rethread this just at the beginning because of when I was knocking it out. We're up at that end, that's all in. I just got to do it all up. Basically what we've got to do now is just push the crossmember up and then locate the bolts in there. I'm going to leave that section down because I'm going to have to put the engine on, lower it down a bit, and then this column here, this steering rack joint goes up that way, and mates up there, so I'll do that afterwards. So yeah, making some good progress. You can see there that one's got to go up as well, quite a way off. Good morning. Today is another day. We're going to be working on the Escort again. Today I plan on putting the radiator back in and some of the mounting points around that. The engine has got to be put back up, but we're actually doing a slight little modification to the chassis rails because I don't trust the little riv nuts that hold the actual World Cup cross member in place. So Father Baker is actually making those up at the moment. We're putting like a top plate in with some spacers, like spacer tubes that go through the chassis rail, and then we'll be able to put a bolt that goes all the way through and then basically clamp on the chassis rail. So Father Baker's going to be making them up. I might pop down to their shop and show you. But at the moment, let's put the radiator back in. Alright, so just taking a little break from the actual engine at the moment, and we're going to have a look at the carbs. So these are the float bowls. In here, you got your float, you got your needles and your jets. This bit here is the bit that I've got to service. So literally there's a little pin across here which we just tap that out. This is what this is for, to stop it. Obviously when you put your float bowl back on, it actually sort of stops the pin from coming out anyway. So all you do is you knock this pin out, and then in here this is supposed to freely move up and down. There's a little like needle in there which basically limits the amount of fuel that comes in this tube and then gets distributed, as you can see, across each of the cylinders or each of the carbs. And this little needle allows the float bowl to fill up to a certain level, and then obviously then shuts off this little needle. So we need it to be able to move freely through there, and then make sure it's all oiled up and ready to go. Really, the rest of it all works, it's fine. I've checked all of these jets, so I don't have to take them out. They're all clean and clear. So each of these, I've already taken them off. We've just got to check the rubber seals, which I've already oiled up so that they stick in place. Yeah, so we're just going to quickly check these over, and then job done. Alright, so as you can see here, there's a little needle. I've just given it a clean up and clean the float bowl. Should pop that there. This here is the little guide in which it goes through. If you just take this nut off, you can actually get a bit of pliers on there and just pop it out. What I've done is I've got a little like foam foam sandpaper, put it on a drill, and then I just like give it a squeeze with a bit of oil, put it in. Obviously I took these out, put it in, and then just buzzed it through, clean them up so they're nice and shiny inside, give them a wash through, oil them up, and yeah, that's all ready to go. Float bowls are all nice and clean, happy days. So let's I've already started bolting these back together, as you can see, nice new cap heads. Yeah, get them bolted up and on the car. Alright, so that's them all together. Float bowls are on. This bit here is the choke. So this is like the mounting bit for the choke cable. As it comes across, it basically just adjusts the fuel to airflow, allowing you to have an idle. Obviously on this, when you first start the car up, you pull it's like a manual choke, so you pull a cable. Once the revs pick up and it's starting to run itself, you can then take them off, take the choke off, which goes back to its natural position. So obviously that's what it would do, as you can see there, and that all moves freely, so I'm happy. Cable would obviously get, like the shroud would get fixed in this position, the little nipple on that end, and slides like so. Here, this is your actual throttle, so as you can see, it opens the shutters wide open. Bop bop. Fuel. So this is the bit that mounts to the actual manifold that goes then into the cylinder. And then on this side, this is where your needles and your sliders are, and they all move freely, so I'm happy. They're clean. These are the sort of like the trumpets, or because filters are for pussies. Actually, they're more for sensible people, but I like the noise, and also I hardly ever drive the car, so we can. Ooh, right, I'll get them on. So those pop on there, and then we can mount these up to the engine. Right, so this is the little modification that Father Baker's made up for me. This is a little stainless steel metal plate, a spacer tube, and then obviously a nut and bolt that goes all the way through. So basically the chassis rail will sit, the top section will sit here, bottom section will sit just underneath that washer, and the spacer tube will prevent the chassis rail from crushing. Normally you do a modification where you weld these in. Unfortunately, I haven't got the time and the access to do that. So what we're going to do is you've already got the hole down here with a riv nut in it, which I don't trust. So we're going to drill that through, hopefully get the riv nut out of the way, and place this spacer tube sort of in place where we can then drill the top mount through and sandwich it all up, and then the engine can be placed back up. Right. So it's been a mad few days on the Escort. It's in. So the modification that we did, I'll show you. There's a top plate there, which goes straight through the chassis rail, and then there's a spacer tube in the chassis rail, which then bolts up under there. So that's all in. Everything's bolted up. I've got to fit some split pins to the castellated nut on the TCA. So I've just been putting everything back together. So I've got to put the carbs on, but I've been getting a slight leak from this little spout here, and I can't understand why at the moment. Also, I had a fuel leak from this pipe. I think it was just from deterioration from like age and stuff. So I've just cut to a good pipe and then resealed it. I've taken this completely apart and cleaned it. Obviously I've shortened this little bit of pipe because I always leave a bit of excess for it because the fuel just eats them. So yeah, we just got to clean up a little bit and we're away. But she's in, she's oiled up, radiator's full, there's no leaks, so yeah, we're going good. Right, so welcome. I found out what the problem was. On these float bowls there was the little screw which is for the drain point underneath. It was actually cracked, so we did a weld repair on number 1 and 3. The engine's all in, it's bolted up, everything's done. I put all the split pins in on the TCA arms, all the fluids are good, and she's out the garage. So yeah, happy days. She actually drove out of her own steam. So in the next episode, guys, I'm gonna show you what she sounds like, how she drives, and take you out for a little spin. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification so you'll get more videos from us in the future. And I'll see you in the next episode.